What's up, wet daddies? This is Steven. I'm just dropping this message at the front of this episode as a little heads up. This is episode 8, so of course, owing to the fact, I guess, pure hubris and ego, we decided to do a live episode before we even hit 10 episodes. So this is episode 8. It's live in front of a audience of friends and strangers. But because it's live, it was the first time doing this audio setup. And so the levels can be a little weird throughout. So I'm just dropping this in as a warning to save your ears. Maybe patience for those of you who are a bit more sensitive to audio engineering, I guess, that this could be a little wonky. So you might want to turn this one down and I guess listen with caution. Otherwise, excellent episode. Top shelf content. We have an amazing guest this time around, Jen Brown from the Women in Caskets podcast. So I hope you enjoy. All right, take it easy.
12. Friday the 13th.
Welcome to ColdTowne Theater. Make some noise, while we are definitely afraid of the dark.
Hello, everyone.
No, we gotta say it in here too.
These
Hi.
microphones,
in here
for
also.
those paying attention, are being recorded on this machine, not being projected into this.
So just imagine it's louder.
Imagine
than
it's
it is.
booming.
This
and
is an audio medium, so it's a theater of the mind kind of situation. Imagine it's loud. We are definitely afraid of the dark. It is the Scary Movie podcast for people who are scared of everything. I'm Steven Smith. I'm scared of everything.
I'm Emma Holder. I'm more scared of more things.
The most scared.
And I'm Kyle Romero, and I'm scared of nothing. I fear no man or no movie.
So Kyle says this every week.
And that's not true.
Every week, it's dubious at best. How could you possibly not be scared of anything?
I'm not scared of a lot of movies.
Okay.
Actually,
Yeah, you're
All
not
right.
scared of movies.
Right, yeah. It's
But
exaggeration for the intro of the podcast.
For the record, if you're a new listener, I don't know if we've talked about this on mic or not, but Kyle would not sleep in a haunted house for $1 million, so he's scared of some things.
Like
I know my limits. First of
Kyle
all.
wouldn't let like a mad surgeon cut on him a little bit for like $1 million. Just a little bit. Like,
First of all, $1 million is not as much money as you think it is.
yes, it is.
It's
It's
so
still a
much
lot
money.
of money.
Secretly rich.
we are
But
literally
enough to
doing
have
this
a
for
mad
no money.
surgeon cut on you? That's
I guess-
I'm gonna need a little more Skrilla than that.
But he did say cut just a little.
A little bit.
Just a little.
Well, then why does it need to be a
Although,
mad
if
surgeon?
it's a
Why
mad
can't you do it?
surgeon,
Oh, he doesn't
they
follow
might,
the rules.
Yeah.
Unhinged.
They might go a little deep.
Who? Thanks. Yeah. No, I don't like it. There's plenty of things that I'm scared of. But again, no movies. Never been scared by a movie once. That's not true. When I was a kid, plenty of times. But that's not as pithy of an introduction
You're
or
right. No, I works-
premise
it's a
for a
good
podcast.
tagline.
If it's just three people who are like, slightly varying levels of scared of horror movies, it's much better if there's like a clear demarcation.
I would say we have an extreme spectrum between me and you.
We will definitely get into it. Yeah, definitely.
Hey, does everybody know that tonight is Friday the 13th?
Clap your
It
hands.
is. Clap your hands if you
Yeah.
know what day it is.
So the way that this normally works is we would have a guest on. They would bring a sample of movies. We have some hard and fast rules. Some people generally do not follow them.
Some people in the audience don't follow them,
We have
Dylan.
a past guest. By the way, we talked about you earlier. I don't know if your ears were burning, but we were talking about you. We'll get into it because our guest tonight has some things to say about it. But generally, we'll bring a guest into the mix. They'll have 3 movies. We say, what are our rules? We say no torture
torture porn.
No torture porn.
I'm going to add no nature at this point. but I don't know if that's going to be accepted by the Academy.
Emma's finding all sorts of different triggers throughout this process.
It's fun.
Nature's a tough one. I don't think we're going to be able to sell that one through.
I know, but I like nature, and y'all are ruining it for me.
So, for those of you who are not familiar with the podcast, if you haven't guessed, like we said, Kyle's very, very brave. He won't let us hear the end of it, and Emma not so much. And so,
I'm brave about life things.
This is really just a sort of like a high wire act where we figure out how long we can do this before you basically stop returning our calls, sever all friendships, and then we're done.
Never check my email drafts.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Save it for the web content, all right? We gotta make sure we turn all that into content.
Publish whatever.
We're definitely posting screens.
Resignation.
Yeah.
So then we would talk a little bit about what we know about a movie, but just due to the sort of draconian rules of copyright law, we can't just show a movie live in the theater. So we've already watched it, and I don't know if you're smart. If you have a strong power of deductive reasoning, it is Friday the 13th, and we don't know anything about scary movies, so the original Friday the 13th was fair game.
Yes, and we. Can I introduce our guest now?
Let's do it.
Okay,
Let's get her out
this
here.
is exciting. We have a legit horror expert in our midst.
Authentic, no.
Okay, that's a little bit of shade at me, but okay.
No, I mean, you know about horror
No,
movies.
yeah, no. I
mean,
will
you're
point
like
out
a
that
hobbyist.
our guest is definitely more knowledgeable about
Yeah,
it.
like I would say.
But I feel like you
she's
just
a
put like an
professional.
extra emphasis on the word legit.
I was just trying to make it sound like double legit.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Anyway,
Carry on.
we have a very special guest. She is an.
Wait, Kyle, you do realize that Jen is better at this than
Yeah,
you?
no,
Right?
absolutely.
Okay.
Of course.
All right.
Yeah, fully acknowledge that and appreciate
Hey,
it.
Stephen.
I bow to her.
Hey, Stephen. Maybe we should see if Jen wants to take Kyle's place forever.
This is an intervention, my dude.
listen,
You're out of the
She
cast.
If you think Jen is going to take it any easier on you guys
Right.
than I will,
She had empathy for me.
you are dead ass wrong based on the time I've
No,
known her.
I think you're right. I think she would pick scarier movies. We'll just have her be a guest that returns sometimes.
We'll get into it. We'll talk about it with
but
her.
Jen Brown is our guest. She is an actor from Ruby and Red versus Blue, and she has a podcast about horror movies called Women in Caskets. So please welcome to the studio stage, Jen Brown. Yeah. I just screamed into the mic. I'm sorry.
No, we're gonna have to do a lot of interesting stuff in
Yeah.
post. Don't worry, Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Hello again.
Yay! Hello.
It's so nice to see you
Oh,
again.
this is such a treat. This is an absolute joy.
Oh, that's a treat for us.
I had an absurdly good time watching the movie with you all
Excellent.
today.
You seem to be having a good time.
Well, it's
Did we do good?
here's the treat. This is what the treat was. It was very special because as a horror fan, it is very, very rare. Also, thank you for that intro. It's for oh, thanks. It's not like I've written a book or anything. I just have a podcast.
You should write a book.
You should write a book.
What would the
my
title
mouth a
of your
lot.
book be?
No filter.
One out of the three of us would buy that book.
In all fairness, if a book happened, Dawn would write the book, and then I'd
Oh,
throw in things and be like, "Oh
You'd
no,
be co-authors.
This too, yeah."
Hell yeah.
I'd be
I'd-
but
I'd
she would
buy
do
that
the
book.
bulk of the work.
And I would steal facts out of it and pretend that I knew them and didn't get them.
And I would buy it just to support you, my friend, and give it to someone else.
But yeah, so as a horror fan that has been watching movies for a long time, and I'm a little older. I'm not old. I'm just in my 30s.
yeah, sure.
Older.
We all
We're
are.
all in
Yeah,
our
yeah.
30s, yeah.
We've all similarly given up
Meeting
on life.
someone, right?
What are we doing? It's a Friday night. Why are we here?
Late.
Our lives
Why
are
are
really
you here?
exciting.
All right, fair enough. All right.
Yeah, but meeting someone at our age that has not seen it, and not only has not seen it,
I didn't know the spoiler.
didn't know
Oh.
the spoiler, didn't know anything about the movie, didn't know who the killer was at the end of nothing.
Round of applause.
At all.
Who has not seen this movie?
Shut up! You're
Oh.
So
you're gonna be so.
let's real
destroyed
quick.
and
We're
We're
ruined.
gonna
that
spoil
okay?
it.
We're going to spoil
It's
it.
So like,
very old at this
here's
point.
the thing: it's
You're
very,
kidding.
very old.
It's from the 70s or 80s.
It's the late 70s.
Okay. Late 70s.
And
That's why the fashion was so good.
Late 70s.
Just
and
high-waisted shorts.
Yes, so many
Everyone looks so
Everyone's
great.
got like
Although the fashion in this one isn't as egregious as the other films because it's at least still somewhat in the 70s. So there's like some cuter
Oh,
shorts.
no, I love
Yeah.
the fashion.
There's not a lot of pleats yet. It's
everybody looks
like
great.
flat
Everyone looks
front.
great
Dynamite.
until they get killed.
Like, yeah,
Right.
yeah. You love that.
And then they look evil.
The little
And then they
red
look so
shorts
hot.
with the chambray top and
Yeah,
the like.
that was so
real
cute.
I'd wear that. I mean, I have that outfit.
Well, Jen,
So, can we just spoil
Anyway,
it?
well, yeah.
Well, let's
we'll
do
do
this. Can we
spoiler.
real quick? Can we do this? Can we ask the
Well-
audience who the killer in Friday the 13th is?
Who they
yeah,
think it is.
What do you mean
Yes.
by that? Volunteer an
Especially
answer?
if you haven't
just
seen
want to
it.
shout
In the
out some,
first,
You don't know.
some
first
guesses.
Friday the 13th, who is the killer?
Who do you guys? Wait,
Yeah, people
who
that
do you
haven't
it?
seen
Shut
the
up if you've
movie.
seen it.
If you haven't seen it,
Yeah.
does anyone know who the killer is?
We have a
Jason?
Jason.
Jason.
Jason
Jason.
guess.
That's what I
Jason.
said too.
Would anyone? Jason Voorhees.
Voorhees.
Jason Voorhees.
You're fucking wrong.
Oh wait, no, he said.
Wait, he said it.
He
Okay,
said it.
yeah, he said it.
Yeah, it's Jason's mom, not Jason. What? I'm just shocked that
It was.
So,
I can't. Like, it was the like. I was sitting there. Like, well, first off, the entire time we're watching the movie, you keep referring to the killer as the dude. Like, I don't like this guy.
Yeah.
I don't like this
And
guy.
you know,
I'm like
also-
sitting there, like,
We almost.
"Yay! Oh, she has no idea. This
We
is so
pseudo
fun."
spoiled it like half a dozen times today, and you, I think, just had kind of tunnel vision, which
Blinders.
is like, I gotta get through another one of these
Legitimately,
fucking movies.
on an
Yeah.
episode of the podcast, Lance Gilstrap
you think I
says who
listened?
the killer was. You were there for the
You were there.
recording.
I
You were
know.
in the room, and he goes, "Oh yeah, well, you know, anyway, it's Jason's mom." And then me and Steven went, "Oh, what?" And then you were just like, "La la la, I'm working."
oh, if it was when we were watching the movie, I was
No,
not
it
paying
was
attention.
after.
Okay.
No.
You
But
have no
here's
excuse.
what I really want to give a shout out to. The fourth grader, now going into fifth grader, who I've worked with for 3 years, who's obsessed with these movies, who never told me this.
Shout out to that kid.
Shout out to that
I'm not
at-risk
going to say
kid.
his name because I don't think legally I can like give children's names. I don't
What's
know.
his name
you
and
definitely
address?
Make
can't.
up a name.
Emma, don't tell this child.
No, I'm not going to. But
Tommy.
I'm starting to wonder if he didn't really watch the movies and he was just bullshitting for 5 years about loving Freddy and Jason and Predator and Alien.
Was he like
He's
He's
never
never seen the
first
original.
one.
Maybe, yeah.
because
It's possible he's just seen the other
like,
ones.
and also the hockey mask doesn't come in until 3.
Yeah, a
we
lot of people
do
don't know
not get
that.
the hockey mask until 3, so we don't get what everyone like
Well, I feel like
knows as Jason.
it is
until the third
surprising.
movie.
It's surprising in this context to think like that's crazy that he doesn't do all those things until the third movie. But we are literally talking about a larger than life figure that puts on a hockey mask and kills people with a machete versus his frumpy suburban mom who's got like a little tight
She's got
curly
the can I
hairdo
speak
and
with a
a sort
manager
of cable
haircut.
knit sweater. Why'd she not catch on? Why did she not
Well, okay,
capture the
well,
imagination
among a
of
certain
horror
crowd,
fans everywhere?
She
honestly-
doesn't have a head
Oh, true.
at the end of the
True that.
movie.
True that.
Although
raps
that
about
doesn't
it.
really stop other horror movie villains. But okay, here's the thing. I do not really care for the Friday the 13th series.
Sure.
They're not
as
great.
much. They are not my favorite series. I am a Freddy girl, hence the shirt I
Yeah.
am wearing.
Yeah.
This podcast is not a visual medium, but I'm wearing a t-shirt.
You guys would love
with
it.
It's good.
Freddy
It's cute,
Krueger on
yeah.
it, and he's got Jason in his like crook of his arm.
It's sort of a
I
demonstration
think
of
it's actually
her
just Jason's head.
Yeah, it's
hatred
just
of
the head.
Jason.
It's just
He
the
doesn't
head.
have. It's not
It's-
like a fun noogie style.
Really
No.
is.
It's his head.
It's
It's
really a
just his
statement
head.
piece.
It
Why?
is.
Why Freddy versus Jason?
Oh
why
Lord,
Freddy
so
over
many.
Jason?
Well, okay,
That's a- yeah,
for
come
one, first off,
Yeah, that's a
the
movie.
Friday the 13th series are. Most of the movies are very bad. They're all very, very bad. Some of them have great enjoyability factor as far as like watching as just being stupid and ridiculous and like laughing and being like telekinesis, like what? So like there's a few that are super fun. But as a whole series, it's really weak. Freddy honestly, every single one is super watchable. There's only one that's like bad and it's still good, which is Dream Child. It's just kind of boring, but it's still a good movie. It's the only one I don't watch as often, but like, and also with Freddy, all the I talk about Freddy a lot. Sorry, it's like my podcast is like basically Freddy.
God, why don't you go
I've been
out
obsessed
with
with him
him?
since I was like, no, I was
Would
like in love with him when I was 5 years old. I used to have dreams when I was little.
Wait, you saw it at 5?
Oh.
And it didn't.
Jen,
No,
what
I
are you
was
talking
like
about?
in love with him. I was introduced to Freddy when I was like 5 or 6. My dad showed me the movies.
Jen, what are you talking
So
about?
this is the whole thing I was talking about on our Nightmare on Elm Street episode, because when we went into it, I had not seen Nightmare on Elm Street in a very long time, and so I'm sort of prepping them for it and going like, oh, it's fine. Like Freddy's like basically Bugs Bunny.
You don't watch these.
Lots
No.
of people. I was like, lots of people are horny for him. It's weird. And so then we get to watching it, and like, you're right. Not in the first one. It's like actually legitimately very scary.
He's a child
He's
murderer.
a child
Child
murderer.
It's implied that he molested or
Yeah.
I've always hated that implication. I like to keep him as just.
You're like, that's
Well,
my man. That is my man. You're
sort of
talking
ruins
about.
the sexual fantasy.
Well, there's not a sexual fantasy.
Is it because
I
he
never
exists in a
sexually
dream space?
I never
It's
sexually
like-
fantasized about
wanna
him.
be his
I was 5.
girlfriend.
I wanted to go on killing sprees with him. but so this was the dream I would have that was like recurring. People who listen to the podcast has heard this story a million times. My podcast have heard this story a million times.
No, we've told it on ours too.
Yeah. Our podcast is just retelling your stories.
Like, there's this woman named Jen.
fans.
She has complicated affairs with imaginary characters. She's lovely, but you know, keep
there's
an
like
eye on her. She
steel
wants to go on a
doors,
spree.
Like you locked me in. This is like this is a purge situation, right?
yeah.
Reverse purge situation.
can only be
reverse
one.
We
purge.
only kind of get that reference.
No, I
Yeah.
don't at all. No, I know it's about killing. I know it's about killing.
No, it's about
I
killing.
hear they're really political.
Oh my god,
They're
we went
getting
off-
more
wait,
and
what
more
was I saying?
political.
You're
You're talking about being horny for Freddy.
So the dream. This was the dream. I was never horny for Freddy. I was 5 or 6 when it started.
You can be
So-
horny at 5 or 6.
No, that's true.
Trust me.
No, that
telling
is
me.
true. That is true. That is true. But I wasn't horny for it. So here's the thing. Here's the dream. I would be walking into a video store.
Yeah.
And I'd walk into the front doors, and there would be one of those like, oh, here's the 80s. So there's those huge cutouts.
Yeah.
And it was a big cutout of Freddy, and I'd walk up to it, and he came to life and would jump out and be like, "Hey, Jennifer."
Hey, bitch.
Yeah.
He always says.
No, he says
For
it.
everyone
Yeah.
listening,
Kyle's
he
not a
does
bad
drop that
man.
B bomb a lot. It's kind of his signature catchphrase is calling everybody.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So it is.
But it was
I
the
clocked
80s.
it. He
The
says
AIDS were
it in
tight.
every
Reagan was
movie.
in the White House. AIDS wasn't real. And Freddy called everybody a B.
Different time. Different time.
Anyway, hey Jen, I've noticed how much you love my movies, and I was wondering if you would join
He
me on a
noticed
killing
you.
killing spree of the children of Elm Street. And I'd always say, yeah, as long as we don't kill my friends or family. And then I'd wake up, like, and I had that dream.
Because he's kicking you out. He's like,
So, survey. How many of us have killed someone in our dreams? Just me?
oh, dreams.
Yeah, I think I've killed.
I've murdered someone in my dreams.
For the podcast audience, lots of people in
Literally
the room are
everybody on
raising
the
their
radio.
hands.
Lots of hands.
I will say it was to protect me and the girls I was babysitting because I was 16 when I had this dream and I still remember it.
Oh, I had a dream like that too. There was a witch that was keeping all my friends hostage in cages.
Oh my God. Are you
In a
guys dream
house.
warriors? Are you guys connected by a psychic bond?
Mine was a home invasion, and it was the house I babysat these 2 girls in. And this bad man broke in, and I had to stab him and kill him.
Mine was it has layers, but it was basically like there was a baby that was a grain of rice in a burrito. I'm on the Pacific Coast Highway, and then I can't keep the car on the road, and so I just have to let the baby go.
What the fuck? Steven, what?
Spoiler alert, my wife's here tonight, and we don't want to have kids. Can't imagine why.
Yeah, please
Wow.
don't.
Wow. Wow.
You're like, gotta save the car.
Get your motor running, dude.
Oh, before I forget, because I know we're gonna like start getting the main reason why Freddy is better than Jason, in my opinion. Freddy is strangely enough less problematic than the Jason movies by about 10,000%.
Just in terms of like the supporting
Everything.
cast.
Just like sexism,
Everything.
racism, homophobia,
Yes.
anything like that.
Yeah. See, those things do creep into the Freddy movies, but when they do, it's always kind of like, oh, strange, and it's kind of off.
Yeah.
And like, okay, so anytime that women are nude, for the most part, in Freddy films, are when it's the fantasy of a teenage boy, and it's in the dream world.
Okay.
So there's very rarely like a teenage girl just like showing off her boobs, being all slutty, horrific, whatever.
She's not like punished for that.
Not punished for that. Exactly. Exactly.
When we literally
and the
just watched a
girl
movie
and,
with that.
and
There's a
also
lot.
the women in the Nightmare franchise, for the most part, aren't killed because of their sexuality. They're killed because they're friends, or they're killed for just because they're children of Elm Street. It doesn't have to do with the fact that they're girls or boys or whatever.
Just move, people.
I mean, it is. Yeah,
I don't
know.
like it.
It was the 80s. They didn't have Zillow.
Why
Well,
would
Freddy's
you?
dead. That's basically what happened.
Yeah.
Like, it was a ghost town.
Can
by
he?
five.
Can he travel to other towns?
Or 6? Sorry.
Well, that's
No, well,
We're getting
that's
off.
what
I'm
This is,
sorry.
oh no, I love
This
this.
is
Friday the
Nightmare-
13th. Let's finally crack open Nightmare on Elm Street.
Let's dig into
say
it.
it's rather
this is
I mean,
this is how much
here's the
nobody
thing.
gives
No,
a shit
it's
about
a way
Jason.
better movie.
No,
It's a
just
way
watch
better movie.
Both of them in
Here's
the
what I
last
will
month.
say.
It's a better movie.
Here's my throwaway.
Okay,
Here's the reason though that I do love the first one. I love the first Friday the 13th unabashedly. I have a little keychain and everything. I love it. I love it.
It just says
Because-
only the first one.
Only the first one. because well no.
Well,
And
my mom
I
has
love
that
certain
about me and my
kills.
sister. I'm sorry.
I love certain kills
Yeah.
in the latter series. Just
Oh,
not
sure.
just not the movies
Right.
as a whole.
But
I
you
like
said
them in like smash cuts.
Earlier tonight, you said you'd want to watch a highlight reel kind of all the
Of all
kills,
the
but
other
not the
movies,
sort of.
But the best thing about the first movie is what we just said is frickin'
Mama
Betsy
Killer.
Palmer. It's the fact that it's the only slasher film, really, famous franchise, where the killer's female.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Like that kind of
And
killer.
not just female, but older to middle-aged
It's-
mom.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, this is the
That's
thing about
so
these horror
badass.
movies. Yeah, I feel like
and the actual story, her motivation
Right.
for what she's
Makes
doing,
sense.
By a maternal
makes sense.
instinct
It's maternal
and-
instinct, and it's just so. It's a really great concept.
she's very sympathetic.
I was ready to give my speech that I gave when we saw Halloween of that this is stupid because there's no motivation. We don't know anything about this character.
Your
They're
classic
flat.
speech.
My classic speech that I
Halloween's-
gave once.
That's also like the scariest ever, though. That's like what makes a lot of villains so great is that we don't know anything about
we
them.
I don't
we
like
don't
that
agree.
though. I don't
We-
like no.
We've talked
I
about
think
it a
it's
bit.
stupid.
These sort of like faceless
think
monoliths.
it's
We're like
Well,
boring.
I know what kind of movies I'm not bringing the next time back on the podcast.
But then they gave that mom, and it was like, dang,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, now
Dang.
I'm on board.
Oh,
That
dang.
moment was that was the cutest thing ever. It was like hearing like so we really like, you know, Miss Voorhees comes out of the Jeep.
and at
Emma's
first you
just
think
like-
it's gonna be okay.
Emma just goes, everyone's quiet. Emma goes, what?
It's very confusing.
I was so happy inside.
I saw
It's
her
just-
internal monologue just be like, why is there now a brand new
brand
character
new old
with
lady.
20 minutes left in the movie? And it's this old,
Yes.
extremely tan New Jersey mom.
I figured it out
Yeah, no, you did.
before she
there's-
started killing.
Oh, okay, cool.
But she started saying Jason this and Jason that, and it's like, all right, lady.
As soon as she said
obsessed
she,
much?
as soon as she said her last name,
Yeah.
Sure,
Voorhees,
yeah,
yeah.
Voorhees.
Actually, at first I was like, "Oh, is she helping him?"
Oh my God, no. Jen, so you are horny for Freddy.
Yeah.
Before we get to this, I'm just want to be. This is what the podcast is now
Kevin
for me.
Bacon.
Oh, Kevin Bacon's in the movie. We'll get to that. Based on what little you know about us,
Baby
can you
Bacon.
kind of like match us up with other killers? Like just pair us up with other sort of
Oh,
fictional
wow.
people.
Who's our killer
No,
dream
okay.
date?
Who's
let's
our star-crossed?
No, here's the thing.
Flash
Let's be
it.
honest. If I was horny for anyone,
Okay.
it's Leslie Vernon.
Okay.
100%. And that's
Who's-
deep horror
who's
nerddom.
that?
What is that?
You would not have any
what
idea.
It's a movie
movie?
called Behind the Mask.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
It sounds like a
Brilliant.
documentary.
You would
it's a
actually like
mockumentary.
it.
Okay.
It gets scary at moments. It does, but it's.
so Leslie
I think you'd
Vernon
like
is
it.
beating Freddy
So
out.
he's taken.
Yeah,
We
that
can't
would
get
be
Leslie.
like. Yeah, I would actually be horny for because like he still has like his face.
I refuse to date
Intact.
any
murderer?
man named Leslie. It just sorry, Leslie's listening to the podcast.
Every time I
but-
say your name, I'm emasculating you.
right, yeah, it's,
Sorry. Okay. Who would? Let's see.
Feel
Who
free to do
could we-
classic monsters.
Classic too.
oh yeah, we can get the Universal monsters
or,
in here.
Villains.
Villains.
Murderers.
Those are the same thing.
No, like literal monsters like
I love villains. No murderers.
like Godzilla.
Yeah.
One of us can take Godzilla.
So when you
Okay,
say villains, do you mean like
fuck.
Snidely Whiplash?
I mean like Jason is a villain. He's not a monster. He's a human.
These are all. We know what we're talking about. Don't be semantics.
Okay.
You're really splitting
I'm trying to
hairs
get
here.
hooked up.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Come
Mary,
on,
kill.
I'm horny.
Fuck,
Let's
Mary,
get to
kill.
it.
Oh, this is good. Fuck, Mary, kill. Jason, Freddy, or the Michael Myers.
Okay.
Ooh.
I was
Or the
trying to think
Michael
of his name. I
Myers.
was going to say the one from Halloween, and then I remembered it.
I just like.
Oh, okay. And then
Or
also
the Michael
tell us how
Myers.
you're going to do it. So, fuck Freddy. Doing a little bit of a top sheet, under the top sheet action. At the point of climax, his face comes out of the sheet in that weird stretchy thing. And I'm like, like climax. I like a guy with a sense of humor.
Well, that's why I would want to marry Freddy.
Yeah.
Fuck Michael Myers, because he just seems like a machine. Right? Like he just keeps
Kyle,
going. He
as his
doesn't
dick
stop.
comes closer and closer to you, he does that thing where he looks at it.
He does that like head tilt thing.
I'm doing it!
And it's like, Michael, when you do that head tilt thing at my wiener, you really make me self-conscious. It's like you're confused by it.
I feel like you don't see me.
I want you to want me, Michael. And then I'd kill Jason because he's fucking
'Cause he sucks.
boring. Yeah. He has the mind of a child.
I agree with you. You can't stop laughing. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. That is the correct order. Marry Freddy because of all of the conversation that's been happening for the past 10 minutes. I don't know time. Absolutely. The whole machine aspect of Michael Myers would be.
This is canon now. It's like he loves to fuck. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, it would be
Probably.
slow.
Right.
So-
Sensual.
And that can be nice. So
Right.
it could be longer. And then it could be very, like
Just
just consistent and steady.
Whereas Jason would just like rail you and just
Yeah.
like
Jason's mom would be there.
yeah. he's like going to town on you and he's
Giving
like
tips, just being like, no.
it's like, who are you talking to? Why's your voice doing that? Stop it.
Yeah, it'd
Just
be
finish already. I want to go watch
super frustrating.
Queer Eye for the Straight Guy on Netflix.
Season 3.
Season 3 coming soon.
Coming to Missouri.
They're moving.
Let's take a break. It's time to drop in some sponsored content for Queer Eye.
We are sponsoring them because we believe in them.
Yeah,
We are available.
No
we
one
love
is
the show.
giving us money.
We hope that they reach
Come
out.
and save you?
Yeah, we're just gonna put it out. In
Okay,
the,
fuck, marry, kill. The guys are
Marry
Marry
them
them
precious
all.
angel babies.
Marry them all.
Yes. It was a trick question. You all got it
three
right.
things to all
Yeah.
of them.
All right, maybe
No. Anyway, I would not fuck or marry any of them because I'm not a bad person.
Okay.
Okay, she's really trying to
I'm
be
just
final
kidding.
girl
I'm
in the
just
mix.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Fair enough.
I mean, I'm not. I wouldn't. But I'm not moralistic about it.
Oh, really? Because it sure seems like
feels
you're
like-
doing that right now.
Because we were
No.
just really vulnerable. You trotted out Godzilla's name. You dangled that delicious fruit in front of us, and then you just made us feel like creeps.
Is Emma gonna say she'd fuck Godzilla?
Yeah, of course. No. Nope.
What have we become?
I don't know.
What is
Can
our
we
life?
Okay, can we talk about the star of this film, who is not the star of the film, but the famous person we
Yeah.
all know that I had no idea was in this
Yeah.
movie because I knew nothing about it except that it would scare me. Kevin Bacon, young sweet Kevin Bacon.
Kevin
is in
Bacon
this.
is in the movie.
and he gets killed. He gets
He doesn't
killed.
get a lot to do.
No, he
wasn't famous
gets to
yet.
have sex.
Yeah.
No,
He
it was
does
his
get to
first
have
movie.
sex.
And he gets
Congratulations,
his-
You
Kevin.
see a little bit of his
But
boner
he
where
get-
he's wearing
Yeah, a little
Speedo.
Speedos, yeah.
Oh, and then also there was a moment where
He shows
his
up in movies a lot.
little butt came out of his swim trunks when he rescued the
Oh,
guy,
yeah,
and
his
he's got
little
like
butt.
tan
Yeah.
lines, and I called him Coppertone Kevin, and that was pretty
look,
funny.
it was
That
really
was a
cute.
great moment.
Someone
This
didn't
is
get
big.
even tan
and
before
then-
it's filming.
He got killed in the most horrific way that I have had a fear of, just for
This
no
is
reason.
so specific.
Yeah, it's
How
a
has
weird thing that.
Because
So
I've
let's
always
let,
thought
before
about
we
this.
before we deep dive into it, let's describe the kill if people don't know.
So, Jason, aka his mom, is sleeping, or she's not sleeping. She's hiding under the bottom. He's in the bottom bunk. He had sex with this girl. They didn't notice there's a dead body on the top bunk, which is wild.
It's a real sandwich of despair.
So there's a dead body of your friend on the top bunk. They come into the room. Presumably, there's already a dead body there.
There is.
Do not notice it. Have sex with like an old timey candle, giving
was
ambiance.
candlelit.
Ebenezer
Candlelit.
Scrooge
Very
style
gentle.
And it
candle.
was very sensual. It was like a sweet, sensual
sure.
camp fuck scene.
Well, that's the thing. It wasn't too gratuitous. Like the first
No.
movie, while there's a lot of like, "Hey, pretty lady," like I'd
There-
like to fuck you subtext with all the comments from the gentleman
Yeah.
to the young.
There's just old men
campers.
But
throughout
this
this
was
movie telling
consensual.
young
This was
women
fun.
they're
They
kids.
was-
love
yeah.
each other or
And it's
like
not-
each other.
I mean, we see her boobs, but it's not like
Gratuitous.
too much.
Super
We saw his
gratuitous.
butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, she goes to the bathroom
Classic horror outfit, top, underwear, pantsless.
because
Just like walking
I'm sorry,
around the campground
when you have to go to the bathroom, that's what you wear.
through like literally killing fields. But okay,
But
she doesn't know
that
yet. Throw on a track
she's
bottom.
taking care of her urinary tract and going potty, and
She just got Myers.
Wishing she, yeah.
fucking Jason's mom is under the bed and stabs up through the bed. Yes, thank you. You
Well,
get it.
first
Holds
of all,
his head down.
hold on, yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I
reaches
know.
out
First.
from underneath the bed
Head.
and grabs
I
I
his
didn't
head
see that part.
Head.
I didn't see
to
that
hold him
part.
down.
And
Yeah,
then
you were looking
knife
away.
You were
comes
looking
up
away.
through his
Through
throat.
his neck.
It's not a knife. It's the arrow.
Yeah, it's an arrow.
Oh.
I
It's
thought it
the
had a
makes
weird-
more
arrow.
sense
It's the
'cause it was
arrow.
too long.
It was a weird. Yeah, it's the arrow.
It's a weird
Yeah.
point.
And there's a lot
Anyway.
of arrow killing in
Miss
this one.
Pamela uses the arrows
Yeah,
quite
she
a bit in this
she's,
film.
She's a big fan of the arrow
She's
and the
got
knife.
good aim.
Yeah.
And the
And an
axe a little
axe.
bit. Arrow, knife, and axe. Which Jason seems to pick up and adopt quite well. And,
Well,
and
Well, you know,
They're
He's
related.
got
genetics.
his mother's knack for
and
improvisation.
machete, of course.
But so I've never seen this movie.
But wait, your fear is of being in bed and getting
No,
stabbed
not-
from underneath?
Being in bed or a couch or a chair.
Is this based on that prank where you sit on a couch and it's really a guy in the couch and he grabs you?
I mean, that is not cool.
Not
I
How'd
don't
you do
like
in that
that
part
exists.
in like Ghostbusters when the hands come out of the chair and grab Sigourney Weaver?
I have blocked it out of my
You
memory.
don't remember?
I've seen
Emma,
that
how do
movie
you feel
at
about
least
Cherry from
30
Pee-wee's
times.
Playhouse?
No, but seriously, I don't know. Was there a scary stories to tell in the dark about someone getting stabbed through a couch?
I think there's somebody who does have a hole in their throat.
I don't know. My sister somehow scared me about people like stabbing you through couches.
You know what? Your sister, every
Is a menace.
episode is a
She's
villain.
a menace.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because she was 2 years older and she wasn't scared of anything, so it was very easy to
Now
torture
she's
me.
a shark-eyed lawyer.
Now, she's a public
you
defender.
know what I want to do right now? I want to make you feel better. I'm going to tell you a little something about myself.
Okay.
And this is not a secret because I talk about this on the podcast all the time. So I love
Our
Freddy,
podcast
I
again.
love
Right.
Freddy Krueger, right? Absolutely, utterly, pants-wettingly terrified of Child's Play and Chucky when I was
I
a
told
child.
Kyle I didn't want to watch that.
I was terrified of them.
Dolls.
I would cry at the sight of the name of the film in a marquee
yeah.
because I knew it was at the theater. I couldn't walk into a video store because I knew that it was somewhere in the fucking video store.
Like the
Yeah.
tape was haunted.
Like the tape was haunted.
The actual film itself.
Yes. One night my dad rented it because he wanted to see the fucking thing because he loved horror movies. And I was, like he's the one who showed me Freddy.
Right, this is when you were 6 now. That was her.
Well,
for
yeah.
You've had
5-year-old
your
girls,
dalliance
this
No,
was
with
this
your-
is
Freddy.
I'm like 8. I'm like 8
Okay.
at this
Oh, so
point.
this is.
And he goes
You're
to
an old
rent.
maid.
I'm an old maid. He goes to he rents the movie in secret, and his watching it, and I have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and I catch him,
girl.
and I went ballistic.
And scared the shit out of your dad.
Yeah.
It scared the shit out of my dad. And
A little thing comes
insisted-
toddling into the room. And he's like,
What are you doing? You were also wearing red overalls and had a huge shock of red hair.
That reminds me.
you had your
I know,
marionette makeup
I
on.
made him.
And your toy knife.
I refused to sleep with the tape in the house.
This is
Oh,
heroic.
wow.
Yes. You know you're on our side.
I refused, and he, I made him drive it back to the video store. To the video store.
Drop
at
it in the slot.
2 a.m. and drop it in the slot.
Wow. That's,
I made him do it.
so
I
to
was
this
so
day,
scared.
does
No,
that- okay.
not to this
You're
day.
like, no, I'm not a fucking, I'm not.
No, I fucked Chucky numerous times.
Dolls are scary.
No.
We were in a poly relationship
Gross.
with all the other
I
horror.
still don't like the movies.
Yeah.
I've gone back and watched them to see what I was missing out on, after I embraced horror. But I'll be honest, it took a kind of embarrassingly long time to get over my fear. Like it wasn't
There is
until it
no
was
shame.
No shame.
There's
Safe
no
space.
shame in
probably
it.
like
Yeah, no. I
She's
agree.
on your side.
13?
We're on your side.
it's probably like 13 or 14
That is still a
before
child.
I could shake it completely and not be like, ugh, if I saw the doll. Actually, honestly, 16,
Yeah.
till I could see the doll and not go,
Ugh.
ooh.
Yeah.
Like it took till probably 16 before I could be like, it's just
It's
a doll.
a creepy doll.
It's just
very
but
creepy doll.
it's very creepy.
It looks like
It's
my
the
buddy.
voice. It's the
Yeah.
voice.
Movies are
It's Brad
stupid.
Dourif's voice.
The movies are stupid as hell. And once I finally watched them, I was like, oh, this is dumb.
We were
It's
we were
really
talking about them.
dumb.
I thought John Ritter was in that movie, and then we realized I was talking about Problem Child.
But it's the same kid. It's
the
him
same
came
movie.
to
It might as well
life.
be the same kid.
That kid sucks more than Chucky.
Yeah, that kid's a little
That
rascal,
movie
which is already a thing.
was a lot.
I think you should have driven to the store at 2 a.m, drop in the slot, then just head to the courthouse. So you and your dad are there at 8 a.m. when it opens, and you legally emancipate yourself from your father. Just like 8 years old, draw the line in the sand. It's irresponsible.
So anyway, it's Friday the 13th, and we're talking Jason here, folks. We haven't done a lot of Jason talk because there's not a lot.
not in the movie.
First of all, he's not in the movie.
Oh, no.
Except that fish.
Well, and then
Man.
this movie doesn't have a lot to say either because there's long, protracted takes of people making hot
coffee?
beverages.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
coffee
yeah.
scene. Let's talk about the coffee scene.
Well, before we get into the coffee scene, I will make one thing about another reason why this movie is great, aside from
Lady Killer.
Lady Voorhees,
Yeah.
is Tom motherfucking Savini does the special
yes.
effects, and the practical effects in this movie are, while minimal, amazing.
They're good.
and
So choice.
They're very scary.
Expertly executed.
When that arrow comes
On no
out of that
money.
throat.
On
Like,
no
it's
money,
super low
exactly. Tom Savini is a fucking genius.
So when Kevin Bacon does get his throat punctured, what's happening there? Like, is that obviously his real head, and
Yeah.
then like a
It's a
dumb
Probably
prosthetic.
like a prosthetic
It's a
neck.
prosthetic
So he's
neck.
got
So
probably
he's
like
doing one of
a head
these.
through the hole in the bed, and then a
there's
prosthetic
a
neck.
lot of blending has been done.
It looks very
to
real.
make it look
It's
seamless.
super convincing.
Yeah.
Somebody
It's
gets an
very
axe to
real.
the face. It looks
Yeah.
very real.
It's no, it's yeah,
Very
it's great.
upset by it. They were doing a lot of oh
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
was great.
There was one moment where Emma was truly terrified.
Well, I got lulled into thinking the movie was over.
I know.
Well,
and
we should say-
that was my fault. I was very much like letting you believe that it was over.
Yeah.
You guys are
Because
doing
I
kind of
knew
the
you were gonna
physicality of like
lose
"Movie's
your
over, we're
shit."
stretching, we're gonna
I
get
mean, it
up."
was daytime.
That's a little evil. I'm
The
sorry.
sun was out. The music was playing. That was happy music. And she's in the boat. The policemen
She's gotten
come,
away. She
and they're
chopped
like, hey,
Pamela's
come-
head off.
Come get us, or come be safe with
Me,
us.
not the cops.
And then no, she's just like waking up and being like cool, and then fucking
swamp monster.
Some swamp boy.
jumps out of the lake and like grabs her, and I just wasn't expecting it, so I screamed very loudly.
Well, it's one of the most famous jump scares in all of cinema
I
history.
mean, in retrospect, yes, I've seen that before.
Right.
Yeah,
But-
you didn't
But I
remember.
didn't know.
No.
I didn't know
Yeah,
where it was from.
So numerous
It was
devious things that we did were, yes, Steven is correct. At least I was consciously like
asshole.
yawning and stretching like, oh, we did it. Okay, movie's over.
I cannot believe that.
And did not warn them that it was coming, even though I've watched numerous horror movies with you now and know that the slightest thing will set you off.
Well, this is something I wanted to talk about. Do y'all jump in real life? Because I do all the time. Like if someone
Yes.
Yeah, I
taps
do.
me or
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
like I'm a very jumpy
Noise
person.
canceling.
Me too.
Like one time I was at the gym and Scream was on one of the TVs at the gym.
Well,
What
let's
the
talk
fuck?
about that.
And
That's
you're like,
weird.
What the fuck?
I'd like to speak to a manager.
I was honestly so mad, but it was at peak time. There were no other ellipticals open. I had to be on the one that was close enough that I
Okay,
could see it.
even weirder that they would like peak gym time put Scream
no,
on
this
the
is what
monitors.
happens. You can change the channel.
I want to be best friends with the person who
Yeah.
said that.
No, you can change the
Yeah.
channel, and then you finish your workout. You don't change like TVs are just
I've never-
left on whatever channels they're on.
Okay.
I've never been to a
So, like,
gym. I don't know.
Nobody was watching Scream actively.
Well, someone was.
I mean, I
Some
was.
guy's like, yeah, yeah, just like fully
I couldn't
ellipticalized.
look away, and I've never seen it before because I know it's going to terrify me.
and that person was
Oh,
Matthew
yeah.
Lillard in the gym.
And
He's trying to get that
Watching
comeback.
his own performance.
I love him.
I love him too. I'm
I
not
love
no
him.
shots of Matthew Lillard.
I was listening to my own music, trying not to look at Scream, trying not to look at Scream. I look at Scream, something in it scared me. I jumped off the elliptical.
You saw Henry Winkler.
I caught myself, but like it was real
Just fully
bad.
like an Emma-shaped hole in the side of the gym as you smash through it.
The woman next to me took out her headphones and was like, "Did you just jump at the movie?"
Oh, no.
Okay.
And you're like,
excuse me.
yeah, you go beep, beep,
I
beep, beep,
know.
beep, beep, and shoot her the fuck out of the gym.
Yeah, I did. Why are we watching Scream at the
Yeah.
gym?
Scream is, Scream for those who are keeping count at home, is one of your two
It's in my top 10 of
like not watch.
no's. Well, top 5 really.
But we already knocked the sounds. It's one of the ones that you were recounted to as a young
that
child.
was told to me
Yeah.
because when movies are very popular in the zeitgeist, I don't like missing out. So I, as a child, would make my friends tell me the plots of movies. So I felt like I knew what was going on. Scream and Silence of the Lambs are the two really big ones that fucked me up, even though I never saw them.
Truly incredible.
Oh, wow.
What is everyone's favorite kill?
In this movie,
In this
Friday the
movie?
13th.
Yeah. Oh, and just generally, like Pol Pot. I don't know.
Wow.
Let me talk to you guys about Ted Bundy.
when we got Bin Laden,
yeah, hell yeah.
it feels very weird.
tap, baby.
I know.
The 13th, the birth of this
We
great
can't
nation.
be patriotic. It feels weird.
Yeah.
No.
Everyone that's listening, we were doing irony just then.
I cannot celebrate any death unless it's. Never mind.
But we also
let's
support
do
the
that
caliphate.
exactly now.
All right, sorry.
My favorite kill in the movie is probably the axe in the head.
Which the girl, the fashion girl?
Pink top,
Pink
no
top,
bottoms.
no bottoms.
Oh. Bathroom girl.
Well, she had underwear on, but
Well, yeah, but she doesn't have pants on, and she walked through the woods.
yeah, no, I know.
We victim blame on the podcast. I
It
mean,
helps us cope.
yeah.
No, Buck Wild, but she. There's a great like weirdly edited reaction shot where she like sees Jason and just is like,
Jason.
oh, or Pamela. Sorry, I'm so used to
Her name's Pamela.
Pamela Voorhees.
I can't imagine why it never caught on.
I would love it if there was a whole franchise
Trick or treat.
about Pamela.
Trick or treat, I'm dressed as
I
Pamela.
have to correct myself.
Is there another slasher that's a
There's
woman?
another female.
Is it Serial Mom?
Yes.
Yes, it is Serial Mom.
It's a much deeper, way more problematic conversation. But I just had to at least say that I can't technically leave out
I'm on pins and
Sleepaway
needles.
Camp.
Oh, big reveal.
But I
classic
wanna
reveal.
Get into that
Oh, let's not
conversation,
get into it.
at
Let's
all.
save
Let's,
this for
not
Emma.
Talk about that at all.
Let's not get into it,
Yeah.
and let's just leave Emma completely
I
bewildered
did
right
see
now.
Serial Mom at Too Young, as in ever. That movie scared the shit out of me. Even
that
though
got
it's John Waters. It's John Waters. It's funny.
I was like,
love that
I was like Michael
movie.
Keaton.
But
no,
Kathleen-
wrong again.
Kathleen
Mr. Mom.
Turner,
Mr. Mom.
Kathleen Turner kills people.
How'd you
Oh,
do
nice.
with
Great.
So I Married an Axe Murderer?
V.R. Warshawski.
It was stressful, but I got through it.
I'm proud of you.
My entire family had to walk out of Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
No, I'll fucking
To be
stick with
fair,
you on that.
I
That
was
is
like
a scary
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
Six
yeah, yeah.
or 7
Yeah.
years old. That movie is not for children.
Melting bodies of any
Melting
kind.
cartoon.
Yeah.
Christopher Lloyd is scary.
Fully
like
unhinged.
Yeah.
ordering a latte.
Fully
like
unhinged.
he's a creepy person. No shots. I love him. Bless his heart.
He dead? He's still with us?
He's still with us.
Back to our favorite kills.
Favorite kills. I said
Oh,
mine.
thank you for keeping us on time.
Yeah, someone has to. Mine is when Pamela gets her fucking head cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very satisfying.
Whoa. Okay.
No, it is. I
yeah.
agree.
No, it is.
Yeah.
Well, just for someone who
yeah.
like doesn't watch a lot of horror movies, you're like
You're like,
very
I go full
satisfied.
decapitation.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
just
cut
like to
that
have it
bitch's
finally be
head off.
over.
Yeah. Well, this is a common like. Are you saying the movie's finally over?
No, like the bad guy's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
For
except
now.
for
I know,
now.
Anxiety
I
just
know.
turns down.
The
Except for
bad
these
woman.
17 sequels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad lady.
Jen, what about you? Favorite kill?
Well, she just said what mine
Okay.
of this one
Oh.
is.
Full
so
decap.
I'll say what my favorite is of the entire Friday series.
Oh hell yeah! Let's
tight,
do
tight,
that.
tight.
My favorite kill from the entire Friday series comes from here's where we'll get a little bit of Friday, a little more Friday trivia for y'all. Comes from part 7. I believe it is.
Why?
I believe it is New Blood or Fresh Blood. I always forget which one is the like. It has like an additional title, but I always forget what the
like Friday
additional.
the 13th.
I think it's Friday
Monarchy.
Part 7, The New Blood.
New
I
Blood.
think
It
it's
is New Blood. It's New Blood. Okay, yeah, it's New Blood.
It's Hunt
Oh,
for the
how's
Blood
that for
it's
Jen
Hunt,
knows
Hunt
more than
for
Kyle,
the Blood
huh?
Orchid.
Well, I had, but I
an
knew it. I
anaconda.
just
No, I
couldn't
know.
remember. Yeah.
All right, we're having 2
We're
different
friends.
conversations.
That's cool.
Classic podcast. Quality podcasting.
No, okay, so
good
it's
content.
7. It's part 7, which is the first appearance of Kane Hodder as
That sounds familiar.
Jason
That's a character
Voorhees,
actor.
and
Okay.
Kane Hodder is
Hotter.
Hodder. DD, HODDER.
Yeah, but is he
Is
hotter
he
than the
hotter?
other Jason?
He's choked me before.
Okay.
You do realize we're near the end of the episode. We would have wanted to lead with that. But all right,
Okay.
tell the story.
Oh, yeah, Jason's choked me. So this is the point. So here's the thing. Kane Hodder is often considered the definitive Jason. He did not start playing Jason
Until the 7th movie.
until the 7th movie.
That's wild.
But for
Wait, how
some
many of these
reason,
things are there?
He's considered the definitive Jason, and I actually agree with that. He has the Hulk and the right weight and the right kind of attitude for Jason. And while he's in not always the best of the movies, he's been the best physical Jason we've ever had. So my favorite kill is 7, and that's the sleeping bag because it is brutal and so cool. Oh,
So
well,
he
basically he just like so there's like a tent and a girl's in a tent in a sleeping bag. He takes his machete, he slashes it open, grabs her like in the sleeping bag, like all wrapped up, drags her out. It's violent. She's kicking it. It is like
She doesn't wanna
usually-
go.
Here's
She
the
likes,
thing,
she
like,
values her life.
she's
Yeah.
not into it, guys.
It's like, if you can believe it, she's
Yeah.
kicking and screering.
not a fan.
And Kane Hodder is classically trained in clowning, so he's like,
Here's the thing. A lot of the deaths in the Friday movies are funny.
Yes.
This is one of the few ones
That's
that
not.
is like not, and it is.
well, it sounds like a
really
sexual
cool.
assault or a
They
little
do
bit.
it again.
No,
There's nothing sexual about it.
No, he just grabs her in the sleeping bag, like all tied up. He drags her out, and then he picks her up and he smashes her against a tree.
This is
It's just violent, and
This
it's
is-
just really cool. I know that sounds awful,
it's
but
really
like,
cool.
if you listen to my podcast, you would understand I am not a violent person. This is all cathartic. My podcast is about a feminist horror. We specifically talk about feminism in horror movies, and we really delve into stuff. I'm very liberal. I just I don't believe
Jess,
in-
my favorite kill is definitely
Slamming that broad against a tree.
I know, it's messed up.
Does
But, like,
she dies?
she dies,
Presumably.
like,
Yeah, she fully dies
We don't
immediately.
know. We don't know.
No, she's
no,
dead.
they show her dead. Okay. Yeah.
So what? Yeah, that's really an interesting one because they duplicate it in Jason X.
Yeah.
where Jason goes to space.
I don't know if y'all heard what, first of all, but then also, how many of these are there total?
There are 11, including Freddy versus Jason.
That seems like we should watch
that. They stopped too shy of 13.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
they're like,
really
meh.
interesting.
Oh,
Right
well,
there.
there is a remake,
Remake.
also.
Oh, there's the remake.
So
Yeah,
there's the
yeah,
remake,
yeah,
if you
yeah,
count
yeah.
that.
So they're
So they're
one.
at 12. They just need to make
They
one
should
more.
make one more, and
Maybe
they
it's
keep
up
trying.
To us.
They do keep trying. It's
Fan
true.
film, be
Yeah.
kind,
Well,
rewind.
you know what? We just came up with, my fiance and I came up with, well, he really came up with it, and then I like piggybacked being like, yeah, that's a great idea.
I'm making it now.
Let's do this. Of how great a prequel to this original movie
Oh,
would be
yeah.
of just Pamela the day of leading up to
Yeah.
the massacre and her mental state and like everything that's happening and everything that's going on and like her watching the campers and like making a genuinely gritty like dark film with a really, really talented actor who can really showcase that character
She's
to
like-
its fullest.
Going through all of her cable knit sweaters. Like, which one am I gonna wear? I mean, prove me wrong.
She goes
Pamela does not seem scary to me. Oh, but she does have Hulk strength.
She goes to the
Yeah.
salon and it's like,
She's like, make it
give
tight
me
and
the
curly."
mommest haircut you can possibly
I
give
need to
me.
have all my peripheral vision at top so I can kill. I think my not the scariest kill, but the one that hits closest to home is because I learned to drive very late. I don't like cars. It's a high anxiety situation, and I ask for a lot of rides. And Tina the cook, first one to die,
Yeah.
just
Oh,
gets
yeah.
pushed out of a moving car. And then she's kept dead in that car for the remainder of the movie. She pops up again at the end. She's been carrying this
Oh.
poor girl around in her car the
Wait,
entire time.
No, she jumped out of the car.
Yeah,
and
you
ran
misread that
out of the
situation.
car.
She
Oh,
jumped out of the car
yeah. And then she's
got killed in
chased
the
through the
woods.
woods.
Chased the
Yeah.
woods and gets her throat slit.
Yeah, she's
Yeah, she got her fucking throat slit.
Yeah.
Why haven't we talked about that yet?
A lot of them
It's
got their
very
throats slit.
very realistic
about
and
it.
can
It was
happen to
super
anyone at
convincing.
any
You
You thought
time.
she died getting pushed out of the car.
Yeah. My sort of Wolverine healing powers are so profound that I've just blocked that out. I'm just like, oh man, she just got pushed out. Oh, well.
That's the worst possible way she could have died.
Oh wait, her throat fully dilates and sprays blood into the woods. All right, guys, let's. I'm hot and very tired. So when we do this, we watch these movies and then we all look at each other with this sort of like world-weary look, like, all right, now I gotta talk about these movies, these hard movies.
You guys do. We wrap up the watching of the movie, and I'm like, "That was great, yo! That was so fun! Didn't we have a great time?"
I
and
cried.
these two are just like literally weeping, like, "I can't believe
Just full
we
flop
just
sweat.
watched that." And I'm just like, "It was just a fun time at the movie."
Well, yeah, because some crazy person had you watch Inside way
Okay.
too fucking
Okay,
early.
let's talk about
We're
it.
gonna rate it. But,
too early.
Okay, so that person happens to be here tonight. He's sitting right there. I want you to turn to him and tell him unpack that a little bit.
An insane
Listeners,
human being.
Dylan's in the audience.
That movie is like professional horror level fan. Like, you do not show that movie to anyone who hasn't seen Friday the 13th and is scared of the woods.
Yeah.
Like,
Bad
you
man.
don't do that. And also, I was, my favorite revelation when they told me this was when Emma said that she was scared equally by
Yes.
Inside and Friday the 13th.
For those of you who
If
haven't
you've
seen
not
Inside,
Yeah, let's.
Inside is a movie.
Is about a pregnant woman woman who gets the baby cut out of her stomach
with big shears.
And it is unbelievably great. It's a brilliant film, actually.
There's no
it's
cutting
one of my
away from
favorite
that
movies.
either, by the way. It's not shy about it
just
at all.
fully-
It's like, we're
you
doing
just fully
it.
Yeah,
see it.
it's
By the
in
way,
it.
the woman who's doing the cutting has had fucking 10th degree burns on her melted face.
Yeah.
And then she does a full pietà with this fucking freshly
Excised baby.
and then we had to talk about it for an hour.
But listen to the app.
Yeah, listen to that episode because
so-
even I am a little
But
like.
I want to
little
defend
boy.
myself. It's not that I don't see that that's a higher quality and more scary movie. I'm just like very scared of everything, and
It's all
like,
just at a 10 for you.
Well, and nature is particularly scary to me. I had to spend a lot of time in nature as a child, and it was always very scary. And I like nature and don't want it to be scary. So anything that like I'm going home next week to Maine to stay at my mother's house, and now mothers can be killers.
Oh, now they can. We didn't know that before.
Her
New
house,
information for
she
you.
lives on an island with a national park.
Hold on.
There is like
We
Pause.
have to
Stop
have a
talking. No more of your sentence. Your mother lives on an island.
okay, but it's a cheat because there's a bridge to it. You don't have to take a ferry.
I'm fucking leaving.
Are automobiles allowed on the island?
know how many horror movies start exactly like that? I'm going to be
Emma,
my
are you
mother.
a final girl? Have you experienced one of these
No,
stories? in
Stephen
real life?
King is
Stephen
like-
King lives in Maine.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no
We all know
shit.
that.
That's where I'm
Everyone
from.
knows that.
Yo, that's where I'm from. He went to the rival high school of my mom. My family knows him.
That's why I
Like-
said it.
Yes, no, they filmed many a scary movies in my state.
Definitely keep a video diary of your sweet trip.
Oh God! I mean, I can't.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll say it because she'll never listen to it. I mean, I call my mom's house Grey Gardens.
Yeah.
I've told you that
Yeah,
because she's I love my mother, but she's a legit hoarder and she has a beautiful home that she has let go.
Your mom
to
is a
waste.
raccoon who's fallen through the second floor.
There are no raccoons in the house right now.
Oh, right now.
We had a pet raccoon one summer.
What?
We
Actually,
don't have time
what?
for this. We don't have time for this.
No, I beg to differ.
We're saving it for another time.
We'll lock up the theater.
Yeah, we got it. We'll wrap it up. We're gonna be here for another couple hours. So
No.
You guys are good, right? You guys are good? Okay, cool.
We were rehabilitating this raccoon.
That's not a
So,
thing.
yes, it is. My sister's friend's mom, her job was to be an animal rehabilitator, which, yes, it may not be a real job that pays money, but it's what she did with her time. And
you know, one of those jobs that people that live on an island have.
so, to be fair, I did not grow up on an
Oh, wait,
island.
but
Oh,
is,
okay. Well, then you're just like us.
is this
My
in the
mom
3-story
moved-
house with a finished basement?
No, that's
Okay.
the house I grew up in.
Okay, fair enough.
And we did have the raccoon there. Anyway, we took care of our baby raccoon for a summer until it got wild enough to run free.
That's the opposite of how that happens. You trained it to be wild.
Yes, that was the point.
You de-evolved this raccoon.
No, it was born wild.
He was like, good morning, madam.
He
like
came to your
drinking tea
door
with a monocle.
selling magazines, and you were
sorry.
like, "Come in, we're gonna
Excuse
teach you
me.
how to steal trash."
She.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, so for
It was a girl raccoon. Her name was Sadie. I named her after one of the characters in Big Business, which is one of my favorite movies.
okay, let's rate Friday the 13th.
Okay.
Save this for our fucking
Our big
17th
business.
spin-off podcast. We unpack this.
Emma's childhood.
Serial
Yeah.
season 3. What's going on with Emma?
Oh, I can't breathe. This is too funny.
So
Explain our rating system.
Yeah, Jen, for your benefit, we have an extremely complicated rating system. We do a simple, did you like the movie or not, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Oh.
But then we also have a scariness rating. So 1 through 5, 1 being not scary, 5 being extremely scary.
Yeah.
But the rating is always different every time. It's how many of a thing you would need in order to relax after watching the movie.
I
think-
instant coffees
Oh, yes!
boiled on the stove.
Just 20-minute preparation of an instant coffee be. Literally watching water
5
boil.
of those. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it's got to be.
So
5
the
deceptively
scariest.
relaxing boat rides on the lake.
I want to go with instant coffees.
5, like tender lovemaking sessions by candlelight.
Yeah.
With a little bit of
5
a little bit of
Kevin
skin.
Bacon wieners.
Yeah.
Bacon boners.
Bacon boners.
Bacon boners.
5 bacon boners.
Baby bacon boners.
That sounds like a really great treat for a dog.
Yeah. Or a Taco Bell snack.
baby bacon boners.
All right.
Now with dipping
Jen, do you
sauce.
want to go first?
Okay.
Thumbs up, thumbs
as
down.
the guest, would you
and
Okay,
then
thumbs
scariness.
up. Duh.
Okay, of course,
Duh.
of course.
Thumbs up, and then wait. Are we going with
Scariness, whatever
Whatever you
get
want.
to pick.
Yeah, it's your,
we don't
it's
have
your,
to all have the same
it's your
scale.
rating
it's not
scale.
a statistically sound study.
right? Oh, really?
We do have a spreadsheet.
Oh.
We do have a spreadsheet.
We do have a
so-
spreadsheet, and we have partnered with the University of Texas
I'm
to
not
collect this
getting paid
data.
for this? This is not like. Oh, I thought this was like an official.
You
Check, please.
You contractually agreed not to get paid when you drink that water that I think your husband bought for you. Listen, we're
He's not my husband.
Couldn't
Not
even
yet.
buy you a
Fiancé.
water.
Fiancé.
Guys, we couldn't dip into the kitty for a bottle of water.
We're
I
just surprised.
didn't think about.
We are doing a live episode for our 8th show. We are fucking hubristic. We're just stumbling full speed into this crazy endeavor on stage looking at our phone.
Sorry,
Okay,
Jen, we're
definitely,
figuring it out.
I would probably put this at about a 6.
Tight.
That doesn't mean it's a bad movie. It's just personally, I don't find it really scary.
Oh, no, 6 would be beyond scary.
1 through 5. But
We said it was complicated.
no.
Five.
But that's
Sorry.
okay.
Five.
No.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Five
Don't
is
apologize.
Jen, it happens
Habit.
every show. We're never going to change
Literally everyone does
it.
it.
Yeah.
And maybe you should
But it's not us,
Nope,
it's
nope,
you.
nope, nope.
Nope, it's your problem, not ours.
Okay. That's fair. 1 through 5. Then I'd go with 3.
How old were you when you saw it the
Solid.
first time?
Oh God, when did I see this the first time?
Post Freddy.
I think I was like 11 or 12.
What do you think
with this one.
11-year-old you would say for scariness? We got really serious.
I had already gotten pretty tough at that point with this kind of scare stuff.
You'd gone through the
The only
child's
things
play.
that had really scared me when I was 11 or 12 was In the Mouth of Madness terrified me to my core.
Hold on. You saw In the Mouth of Madness when you were like 11 or 12?
Did I not explain to you who my father was, who showed me
Holy
Nightmare on Elm Street when I
shit.
was 6?
Wow. Okay, cool. Rad. Your dad
I
sounds
told you,
awesome.
Jen.
What's
My
your
dad
dad's
was-
first name?
He was very cool,
Does
Brian.
your dad want to do the
Pop
show?
off, Brian.
My
You wild.
dad is dead.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. He's been gone for about a decade now, but he was an amazing man. He was really incredible, meant a lot to me, and he introduced me to all this like crazy.
Was
shit.
this like a
He
sort
was
of-
covered in tattoos. He was from upstate New York. He was at Woodstock and Altamont. He was a
Hell
crazy,
yeah.
weird rock and roll hippie. Like he was super weird, and he didn't make a lot of sense. Like he wore cowboy hats and like metal shirts and like cowboy boots and like. He was
That all
just a
kinda
big
makes sense.
conundrum. He was a
That's all
big
cowboy
like
stuff.
it was very like but he was great. And he loved horror movies and metal. And so I grew up. My first rock show was Cheap Trick on His Shoulders when I was 5. Like in the pit, and we got kicked out for being too rowdy.
You got kicked out for saying like, I
You
love
throwing
Freddy's my
elbows.
boyfriend, and everybody.
There's the pit, just like
Clears
you
out.
in the center and a huge
Roadies
empty
just started
circle.
breaking down the equipment.
Cheap Trick's like,
Okay.
no more show.
So, Kyle, do you want to do your rating?
Yeah, I would like that. Thank you, Emma. I will say thumbs up for the rating, which I kind of wasn't expect. I remember not really liking the movie that much, but watching it this time, maybe it was watching it through your fresh doe eyes.
Yeah.
That I got to watch you experience the
Yeah.
actual scares.
Yeah.
Because when I first watched it, I wasn't that young, so it didn't really. I don't know. It didn't. I'd seen a lot of horror movies at that point, so it wasn't super affecting. So I didn't think like there were actual effective scares in the movie, but I was wrong about that. So thumbs up, and then the scariness rating. I will probably say, just speaking my own truth here, I'm gonna go with a 2.
Yeah.
2 calming boat rides on Camp Crystal Lake.
Sweet.
You know what? Can I go with 2.5? Because
Yes.
that feels more fair. 'Cause 3 feels too high,
Too
but
high.
I didn't want 2 felt low.
Yeah, there's always some adjustment here as you see other people's scores.
Yeah, well, 2.5.
That's good, that's good.
2.5.
All right.
Do it.
I'm gonna give it a thumbs down. I mean, I
Shocking.
love the mom being the killer. So
Yeah.
last 20 minutes, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, great. I will never watch it again.
Yeah. You didn't like that no one was finding the bodies. She
No.
was very upset
didn't
by
like
the
that.
fact
I
that
didn't
people.
like
We got a real Harriet the Spy here. Who wants to track down on the body.
very
It was
bad.
making me very upset and anxious, and I love nature, and I like my cousin got married at a camp a few summers ago. Real glad that wasn't this summer. I am going to a wedding in the woods in New Hampshire in a week. That'll be fun.
Island wedding?
No, it's not on the island.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what circles you
New
travel
Hampshire's
in.
not. Anyway,
I don't know.
it's
Why
fine.
would he know that it?
New Hampshire's almost landlocked.
Okay.
Anyway,
Captain of New England.
elites came down here to Texas to lecture us on geography.
okay. Thumbs down / a little bit up for the mom. And then I would give it a 4 because it really fucking scared me. And I
Yeah.
know it's like dumb scares, but like, I don't like darkness. And there was lots of dark and flashlights. I don't like flashlights.
Yeah, lots of people stumbling into
And
bright
that
lights.
fucking through the back of you. That is one of my greatest fears because you
Ever-
can't be alert to that coming.
Yeah. Archery phobias? Anybody in the? I'm going thumbs down to.
Wow.
Okay.
I think sometimes it didn't scare us at the time.
Yes,
Sorry.
what?
But
Halloween scared the shit out of me the
Halloween
first time I
scared me.
saw
He's
it.
speaking for himself.
okay, I think I'm just saying, like in retrospect now, like we're kind of like building up some calluses. Anyway, you're not. I know you're not. Sorry. I don't want to speak for you, but
No, I am.
Nightmare on Elm Street. So I'm just sort of like thinking about these in this sort of like pantheon. Way scarier. All of the kills way more inventive. This is just some dummies getting knocked off in the woods. Occasionally you don't even fucking see it until like 2 acts later.
Yeah.
Boo. Not scary.
No.
Yeah, comparatively, I'm
compared
with
to
you.
that one woman being ripped around a room, like
That's like my favorite kill of all time.
Jen, it is.
It's
good.
amazing.
Yeah,
The
it's
pra-
incredible.
the makeup
Dancing on
effects
the
in this,
ceiling deck,
yeah,
that
she's
was
like
fun.
it.
Terrifying.
The
I dressed
makeup
up as
effects
that
in this
for
were really
Halloween
cool.
one year.
Oh, tight.
Cool.
Wait,
Yeah.
what? Okay, we'll get to it in a second. You had a full, you had a full room on a truck.
It's just like an
Hydraulic
shirt
room.
covered in blood and like a blonde wig.
So,
I'm just like,
were you? Was your like greaser, street tough boyfriend there, and
No.
he's only wearing underwear, and then you hit him in the face, and he passes out while he screams your name. Anyway, that movie rules. Nightmare on Elm
does.
Street is legit cool. It's fucking terrifying because you can't fall asleep.
Yeah.
This is just some dumb fuckwads fucking and then getting killed in the woods.
it's not, yeah.
Not
So
gonna
I'm saying,
disagree
like, for
with
the
you.
first time, confident thumbs down.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's
All
your
right.
scare meter?
2.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Bad
There you
and
have
not
it.
scary.
There you
Wow,
have
we got a
it.
whole spectrum
It's not
here.
a super scary
we
movie.
covered all the
I mean, it's not scary at all, really.
all the things.
We've done the big
We
3
did
now
it.
at this
all the
point.
nuances.
We did.
No,
that.
wait. We've not seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Why did you say that?
'Cause I really want to see
Say
it.
we're gonna forget.
That one
We
seems.
live in Texas.
I know.
That's my top one.
All right.
That's one of my favorite movies.
I think that's my top
That's one of my favorite horror movies,
Let's-
period.
let's-
Bye. Bye.
Okay, Jen, where can people
Oh, yes,
find
yes,
you
yes, plugs,
online?
plugs.
What would you like to plug,
Oh,
etc.?
yeah. Obviously, Women in Caskets.
Look
Feminist
it
horror
up.
podcast. We're about to wrap up our Evil Dead retrospective right now.
Oh,
so
Hell yeah.
the last, we've already done our episodes on the first 3 movies, of the original series, and we're doing our remake episode soon because we actually like the remake.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to
So
listen to
since
that.
I'm one of the. It is one of the only remakes, if not the only horror remake I have ever liked in my life. I think the next exception will come up when Suspiria comes out this year, but
Looks
I'm not entirely
cool.
sure.
Looks
But I
cool
have a
and spooky.
feeling like that's actually going to be like good. Anyway, Women in Caskets, iTunes.
All it,
Podbay,
yeah.
Stitcher, all that. We're with Bloody Disgusting Podcast Network, so they have an app too. I do a lot of festivals and conventions. If you happen to be a fan of my voice work, You can catch me at Versus Comic-Con in Portland, or actually Seaside, Oregon, just an hour and 20 minutes away from Portland, Oregon.
A
In
short
Seaside.
helicopter ride.
Yeah.
On an island, probably.
On the 21st and 22nd, if I'm remembering correctly, of this month.
Very cool.
Dope.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
Sorry.
yeah.
And Jen Brown Plays on Twitter is I do
Twitch.
Twitch. I
Cool.
I stream with my fiance and we play games, and I'm really bad most of the time, and just like So
Sounds fun.
we stream 3 days a week. TheJenBrown.com has like a bunch of information, but we need to work on it because it looks really, really like bad right now. It's not a good looking website, so just keep that in mind.
Do visit it though.
Do visit it.
Visit it, but no
Give her those
Judge
clicks.
us
Give her that
already,
SEO.
guys.
Give her
Like,
that
no
SEO
judgy.
juice.
All the
but-
info is there. It was designed by her raccoon mom. So it's hit or miss. We are Deaf Afraid on pretty much everything.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Yeah, download the podcast, like and subscribe, rate it, tell your friends.
Come see Pendulum next Thursday
Yes.
at
Yeah, Thursday, July
10
19th.
p.m.
ColdTowne Theater, $5. Austin, Texas. Bye, everybody.